Bonjour. Greetings, everyone. I'm deeply honored to welcome you to this very important gathering on reconciliation here in Canada. It's to honor our children, to make sure they understand where they come from. The prayer is about, the Creator to guide us in all of this very important event. Without this national words, Gitchi Manitou, Imegagi Zamigo, Mijawan Mishnam, Migidamag Toishnam, Ikanob Mishnam, Minashkinam Ishnam, Gijawan Jigain, Kiminalzion, Nimagim Stable Tamang, and English Chingan Gagis Minigo is young, Shomis, Nashigomiwaki Gamadu Katamang, Gamanjaminikang, Nibe, Gamanjogit Namo, Kinagigo Magamjumaji, Nakutan, and Shomis, Ajogain of Wagabitagashnam, Amano Chakra Tunagis Minigo is young, Simosekang, Angela Lakamano Desjarlais, Waabi-bizhikiikwe, and Introductory and Intermediate Ojibwe, and Ningabi on the Gari Nagatamo, Tojanjig, and the Gari Majo, finished Nakutanen, Wabalang, what he had no way to Ganis Majan, Nakutaman Kinagago, Waabi-bizhikiikwe, and the game Kitan, Mijawan Mishnam, Mijawan Mishnam, Mijawan Mishnam, Mijawan Mishnam, regrets.
Dante, Anin, for those of you that don't know, my name is Ray Coco Stevenson. I was given the name Walking Wolf over 35 years ago. We're going to get things started with a song that I composed over 20 years ago. I use it as an honor song.
Hi, I'm Brenda Gunn, the Academic and Research Director at the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. Today marks the beginning of Truth and Reconciliation Week 2022. We're so excited to have you join us to learn about Indigenous peoples' languages, culture, as well as the history of residential schools, including hearing from residential school survivors themselves. This year, the NCTR is continuing the conversation to remember the children who were taken from their homes and forced to attend residential schools. We want to make sure that everyone in Canada has the opportunity to hear from survivors and hear their truths, including the truth that many children did not make it home. Last year, the first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation came after the uncovering of graves of many missing children. Since that time, the spotlight on the history of residential schools has faded a little. But it's important that Canadians continue to learn and relearn this history. This year, we have an opportunity to continue the conversation. Reconciliation is a long journey, and it's not one that survivors and organizations that work with survivors should have to endure on their own. Everyone in Canada has an obligation to move reconciliation forward. This week, take the time to learn the role you can play in reconciliation. Listen and ask questions. Take the truths you learn and champion them. Also, remember to have empathy for what took place. Thank you for joining us.
I am the turtle. I represent new life. I have witnessed creation and carry the laws of time and life on my back. I represent healing, wisdom, spirituality, and protection. Today, I ask you to remember the children of residential schools and take what you learn and share it so we can all heal. Remember, with truth comes wisdom and a new respect for generations to come.
I am the eagle. I fly high in the sky. I carry your prayers to the Creator. I represent respect, honor, strength, courage, and wisdom. With other birds, I bring the seeds of life. As we take this journey together, I will watch over the children, honor them, and ask you to listen to the messages shared with you today through story and song.
I am the buffalo. I am here to guide you and give you sustenance. I'm always here for you, even when you are called back to the Creator and the physical life comes to an end. Today, I want you to remember that so many are on an important healing journey. Each carries important truths that we need to hear and respect.
I am the polar bear. I am here to help you heal both your mind and body. The healing medicine I carry came from the elders. I share this with you so you too can help others. I ask that you share what you hear today. And remember, never stop learning, never stop exploring, and never stop loving. This is my medicine.
For many years, our people were forbidden to speak our languages. When I went to residential school, we got in big trouble when we spoke our language.
I don't understand. Why weren't you allowed to speak your language?
Well, the idea behind residential school was to make us forget our languages, our way of life, and our stories and traditions, and even to forget our language.
Forget? But how could you forget your language?
Well, language is very powerful. It keeps us connected to our culture and our families from generation to generation.
Wow.
But when we can't speak it for a long time, it can disappear. So not letting us speak our language made many of us feel lost and disconnected.
It makes me feel sad to hear about kids feeling lost.
It's okay to feel sad. It's a sad story. But thanks to lots of people, work and perseverance, many of our Indigenous languages are still spoken today.
Did residential school make you forget how to speak Anishinaabe? Wow, I'll take that as a no. What did you say?
I will never forget how to speak my language.
I'm telling your mom.
Waabi-bizhikiikwe ndishnikas makwandutem ubishigokang ishinikate kaunjian. My name is Pat Ningewance. Anishinaabe name is Waabi-bizhikiikwe. I am Bear Clan and I'm from Lac Seul. I've been a speaker of my language since I could talk. I grew up with my parents and my grandmother. I spoke the language at home all the time, except going to school. And I went back to residential school when I was 13 to Sault Ste. Marie to go to high school there and residential Shingwak school for 1 year. And then I came back home this way when I was 22. I guess when I left Sault Ste. Marie, I began working in language, and that's in different forms. So I am teaching here at the University of Manitoba. My title is assistant professor. I just started 2 years ago. And I teach 3 levels, introductory, intermediate, and advanced. I totally enjoy doing that. The reason why I got into it is because in high school I was learning French, German, and Latin, and that got me very interested in teaching language because I saw how my teachers were teaching, and I realized that my own language could use some teaching like that. I believe that our language is sacred. It was given to us by Gitchi Manitou, and that we are the first people of this big island that we call home, and it's only our language is spoken only here. If we lose it here, we can't go to Europe to go learn it there. It's only here. It was given to us, and it's our duty to keep it. It's connected to the land. It's connected to our community. Our community speaks it, and when we speak the language, that's when you know where you're from. And that's why the youth are wanting to learn, because they've lost that, and they want to return to community and to the earth. In my books, I try to demystify the language. Students will sometimes think that to learn the language, it's such an insurmountable mountain to climb, that they'll never do it, never be able to do it. So what I do is I try to demystify it, to make it something that is accomplishable step by step. We start off with easy things and you gradually get into more complex grammar. I find as a language teacher that my students have a block. That's what I call it. It's a block that prevents students from pronouncing words. It's fear of language. I don't know how many generations that's been. It prevents people like me from passing on the language to our children, grandchildren. There's a block there. And psychological, emotional, and it was caused by trauma that happened to us at residential schools. I'm really sure of that. We need to reclaim our languages. We need to have them back. There's government funding now, and we could use that for language courses. We can build language communities, like I would call it a sanctuary, where no English is spoken. We need to have a place where we can speak our language and not use English. Gookom is my grandmother. She's the one that taught me to appreciate my language, to appreciate language altogether. She spoke Ojibwe and English at her age, which was very unusual at that time. I asked her one time, why do you speak English in town, but you never speak it at home with us, even though you can speak English? And she said, we're not English people. And I've never forgotten that. Learn as early as you can, and don't give up. I wrote a book called Reclaiming Our Territory Word by Word. It's for families to learn language together, where the teacher is not a teacher, but just somebody, your aunt, your uncle, whatever, whoever, knows the language. And it's a book of lessons. So they would say, okay, today we're going to say, where are you going? And they would learn that, and then learn all the answers. And then there's activities that they could do to practice those questions and answers. So don't give up. Try to use games. Try to get your teacher or relative, whoever, to try different methods and have fun.
Sizi, Shirley, Desjarlais, Siye, John Sambak Nate, Enitlekon Egalata. My name is Shirley Desjarlais. I live in Yellowknife and I work at Intlo School. My mother tongue is South Slavey with the Wrigley dialect. Presently, I'm teaching at Intlo School and teaching the Willide dialect to all the students at the school here from junior kindergarten to grade 5. Because the students at Intlo School are just learning the language for the very first time, so they wouldn't have heard the language and other than if it's spoken within their home. And so we are starting really from the beginning in learning a language. To learn a language, you basically have to know the different sounds of the language. Sizi, Shirley Siye, Ni Edaniye. As my name is, what is yours? Esat ele edant e. I am fine, how are you? When you try to teach the learners how to listen to the sounds, very different from English sounds or French sounds, that they become really good listeners to hearing out for sounds, and then they'll be able to pick up the language really well. Singing would be one that we would start with the young ones. Like junior kindergarten can't sit for very long, and so we try showing things that are in actual setting. For example, if we're doing colors, we use the colors that are in the classroom rather than bringing in things of that color for them so that they could identify things that is around them. To be able to function in a society that we live today, if we learn another language, whether it's our grandparents' languages, it makes our journeys a little easier to converse in different cultural setting, and take the time to really get to know the language group and its people and its culture. And we are the living component of that language group, right? Our elders and the language speakers and keepers of the language were basically, we need them to continue that.
My mom said her mama got made fun of real bad for speaking Michif, so we never learned. But I know a few words.
What word do you know?
La pizza.
What does that mean? Now I'm telling your mom.